Okay, so this is W4ABT. Putting a few hundred out. We'll try that first. This is W4ABT.
Roger, that's 200?
Doing 500.
Roger, Roger. Again, not one of those better days, Roger.
Yeah, I can tell. I mean, I have you at about a 5.7, 5.8, but on those real good days, you know, you're up there at a 5.9 plus.
Roger, Roger. Now that came up just a little bit that time, Roger.
Yeah, and you know, also, let me know if, you know, you think I'm talking too far away, but I'm doing about 3 to 5 inches from the mic right here.
Roger, Roger. You afraid of catching a cold from the microphone?
Yeah, right. No. I think, you know, I've got one of those windscreens on the way, one of those black windscreen covers on the way, so I'm just trying not to, you know, accidentally spit into the microphone.
Roger. Now that is a foam windscreen, Roger.
Yeah, it is, yes.
You're not using somebody's old woolen sock.
No.
All right, things are looking better, man. That signal's coming up. We conjure up a 40 over here in a minute.
Yeah, there were like a couple times in your video where I kind of, you know, was able to hear, you know, the difference between the PR781 and the MD100, but I think with a better signal for a little bit longer period of time while I'm transmitting, would probably give me an even better idea of, you know, the real sound of both of the microphones. But yeah. I mean, it definitely was a different signal day that other day.
Roger. Now, if you really want to do something, 80 meters at about 1 o'clock in the morning. Oh, yeah. Yeah, no doubt about it. That is for sure. Well, yeah, I mean, now, do you ever get on the 80 meters? Oh, all the time. Yeah, sure. You know, at night, I mean, 80 meters is a nighttime frequency, early morning frequency.
Yeah. Well, so where do you hang around on the 80 meters then?
Oh, I go visiting 3860, 3892, 3898, 3810, 3803. It just depends, you know.
All right, cool. Well, that'd be pretty cool to have my first QSO with you on 80 in the evening. I've never spoken to you at night.
Roger. Do you have a pan adapter on your radio?
Do I have a what now?
A pan adapter? I mean, you know, where you can see the band?
I think I do on this. I'll search around on it, but I don't think so. My FT950 might.
Roger, I was just going to say, you go to pan adapter, and I'll be there. I'll be the strongest one, Roger.
Now, but what frequency is that?
Well, I mean, it's, you know, if you look, you know, the pan adapter lets you look at the whole band at one time. You know, you'll see everybody's transmitter across, you know, as a vertical line, and I'll be the tallest one, as tallest as the signal strength goes.
Oh, now I know what you're talking about. No, not on this radio, I don't. I'm not sure if my FT950 does, but I know a lot of those ICOMs do, like the ICOM 7300 has it. cool.
Roger that. So you have an 80 dipole?
Yeah, my dipole is multi-band, but it tunes up perfectly on 80. So, 80, 40, pretty much 80, 40, 20, 17, 15, 10, I'm pretty much good on any of those bands, but yes, to answer your question, I'm fine on 80.
Roger, you have like a fan dipole?
It's one of those G5 RVs.
Oh, roger that. Yeah, they're pretty good. So, and you've got an antenna tuner, but do you use your antenna tuner on 80?
Oh yeah, I do. Yeah, I have a Palstar AT2K. It's Alpha Tango 2 Kilo. So yeah, it's a good tuner, and it allows me to get down there to pretty much flat.
Roger that. You're at 500 right now. Power out.
I said, what'd you say real quick?
You're doing about 500 now?
Yeah, I am, yes.
What's your max out?
Let me check. Hold on.
Yeah, what is your frying eggs point?
Yeah, I'm doing about 550.
Roger, yeah, the band's about 20 dB off.
Now, I think when I spoke to you last, I was probably putting out about 800. Wasn't that? I'm almost positive. Like a couple of the times I even on the video, I even heard myself saying, "Yeah, I'm doing about 800 out."
Yeah, Roger. Yes, I recall that.
Stand by for 1 minute. I'm gonna be right back. Stand by, just like 1-2 minutes here.
Roger. I'm making a slight receiver adjustments here. This is Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor. I hear somebody mumbling and fumbling back in there. Station, go ahead, try it. Guy station, you're right towards my noise level. I can hear you in there, but I can't quite make out the words. Roger. You're probably doing about 100 watts, so I'll drop down. This is about 100 watts here. This is about 100 watts. That's back to a KW. Roger.
This is W4AVT. We're now doing 800 out. W4AVT now doing 800 out.
Roger. You know, that makes a difference. I wouldn't have thought that would have made much difference, but it surely does, Roger.
All right, real good. And so I'm about 3 inches away right here. Is that good?
Sounds perfect to me, man. Sounds perfect. You on the Heil mic?
Roger that.
Yeah, that's where I'd stay, and then, there's a whole thing about tight miking that once you get you don't have your good foam windscreen yet, Roger?
Yeah, that's a Roger. I do not have it yet. Probably come in a few days.
Roger. Well, when you get that, then we'll go through a thing about tight miking. And the thing about tight miking is that you eliminate all your blower stuff, and you can, when you run compression, if you work far away from that mic, then it has a tendency to pull up all your blowers and stuff, But when you work a tight mic, you minimize the external noises,
Roger that. Roger that. I hear you. Well, that would be great. Yeah, we'll definitely work on going over that once I get that foam windscreen. That would be cool. So now, like, how are we doing there as far as signal and audio at this point?
Roger. Now, right at this point is the best as far as your signal strength. You're, I can't say for sure what you are, but you're the loudest that I've heard you today. Roger, Roger.
That is cool. That is cool. So, I mean, are you able to record or not?
Oh, well, I've been recording, man. I don't mess around. I go in loaded for bar.
That's great, man. Because, last time I was probably only doing about 300-400 watts on that recording, and I don't know, I guess that does make a difference. I mean, this one I'm doing, like 8, I'm telling you, I think I'm darn near, if I'm not 800, I'm darn near close to it. But I'm pretty sure when I looked on my PalStar tuner meter here, it was saying 800. So, yeah, this will be, it'll be great to hear, when you get that video up in the next day or so. So that'd be cool. Hey, I hate to be a stranger and bolt out of here like right now, but my 9-year-old girl wants to go for a little ride. It's a nice sunny day, and she wants me to just take her out for a nice little ride for a little bit. So I'm going to bolt out of here for right now, but you never know, I might get back in here before you go to lunch. If I do not, I will look for you on 80 meters tonight, if you're on there. So you're on there after midnight, is that right?
Yeah, about 11 o'clock around through there on to midnight, Hey, what is your EQ setting right now?
I don't even have an EQ on my FT950 does, but I don't think this, the 1000 MP does.
Roger, but you've got it. You can throw EQ in there right now, right? You could go like, is that a 3-band EQ on that radio or 2-band?
I don't know. That's a good question. I have to go into my menu and look for darn sure. I know, because a lot of times I'll just go into the menu area, and there are transmit audio selections in there. Before I go real quick, I'll go through this one and see what you think. Stand by for 1 minute.
All right, Ski. This is Kilo Charlie 9, Victor Kilo Victor.
So here is number 1 of a 4. I have 4 options on this one. This is a menu group called Transmit EDSP. This is number 1. I don't know. I mean, what's that do? Does that do anything?
It'd probably do better if you came back on frequency, Roger. Roger, you're a couple of clicks high.
My bad. I accidentally turned that dial. So this is number 1, and there are 3 other selections on this particular group, which is called Transmit EDSP.
Roger, Roger. Too sharp. That one is too sharp. No bottom end at all, hardly. Roger, Roger.
Can you stand by for 1 minute? I just got to be a father here for a minute. Stand by.
Roger, Roger. Man has to keep the priorities straight there. This is Kilo Charlie 9 Victor, Kilo Victor, doing our QSO-VLOG recording for this week. Anybody out there looking to hear what they sound like? This is KC9VKV. Have a shot.
Yes, this is Kilo November 4, Golf Alpha Uniform. I'm located in western North Carolina. My name is Robert, and I'm running about 600 watts. Over.
Robert, got a nice signal. We're located next door to Louisville, Kentucky. Louisville is just across the river, about 3 miles from where we are in Indiana, Roger. And your signal is very nice.
Okay, thank you. I'm located in western part of Waynesville, North Carolina. And I've been a ham operator about 1 year, so I have a lot to learn. Over.
Roger, Roger. What's the name there?
My name is Robert, and western North Carolina, Waynesville. Over.
Roger, Robert. We do have a QSO-VLOG page on YouTube if you want to hear what your station sounds like. If you go to YouTube and do a call letter search for Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor, that'll bring up our QSO-VLOG page, and you'll see your call there, hopefully right in back of Eric's. But give me your call one more time.
My call is Kilo November 4 Golf Alpha Uniform. Over.
Kilo November 4 Golf Alpha Uniform. Roger, Roger.
Roger. Alpha Victor Tango.
Roger, Roger. Stand by, Eric. Yeah, just if you go to, like I say, that call letter search on YouTube, and that'll bring up the YouTube QSO-VLOG page, and this will be right towards, well, I'm not sure. It'll be on that page, though. Roger, Roger.
Okay, thanks very much. I'll go to YouTube and pull that up. Thank you again, KN4 GAU.
Roger, Roger, Robert. And that will be probably in a couple of days. I'll probably have it posted in 2 or 3 days. Roger, Roger.
Okay, thanks very much.
Roger, Roger. Go ahead, Eric.
So this is called Transmit EDSP on my menu, and it gives me 4 selections. This is selection 1.
Run them down. Go ahead.
And this is selection 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Selection 2.
Roger, Roger. Go ahead. Next.
This is selection 3. 1, 2, 3.
Okay, and next.
And this is selection 4 on this group. And I have other audio selections I can do as well.
All right, 3 is probably about the best of that group. 3 is about the best of that group. They're all kind of shy on the bottom end, though. Roger, Roger.
Okay. Now, I'll leave this on 3, and then I'm going to go to this other menu and see what you think.
All right, go ahead. Hey, Eric?
Yes.
Why don't we just dispense, does that include compression and EQ?
You know, I'm not sure. These are just like, they're just called like EDSP Transmit Audio selections inside my menu.
Roger, Roger. Okay, what about we bypass all that stuff and just go to EQ? Can you go direct to EQ?
I'll have to look. I've never seen an EQ on this, but I'm gonna look, further in my manual and through the entire menu today and see if I can find that. Because if it does have that, I want to know. I just haven't seen it. But let me show you something else here and see if you hear anything.
All right.
Okay, so this is a selection on another transmit audio.
All right, go ahead and run through them. Yeah, just click through them as you transmit.
Okay, so now you have an idea of what this sounds like, right?
Roger.
Okay, so this is 150-3100. It's just a second selection. Hello, 1, 2, 3.
Let me hear a little bit more about that.
What's that?
Let me hear a little bit more of the one you're on.
Oh, on this one? Okay, this is the second selection. The second selection I am on. The second selection.
I really like that, man. It's got a nice bright top end for articulation, and it's got. I personally would prefer just a little bit more bottom end, in addition to what that is. But as it stands, that is the best one I think at the moment, because it's it's got such good articulation in the top end. Roger.
Okay. Now I'm going to show you these other ones, and I'll come back. Hey. Stand by for 1 minute, buddy.
This is Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor. Anybody out there want to hear what their station sounds like? We are doing our weekly QSO-VLOG recording at the moment as we speak. So give a shout if you want to hear what you sound like. Sir, you're very weak. Try again.
Yeah, I don't have any power, so I'm just maybe 50 watts with you right here. But anyways, all right, we'll try it another time.
Roger. Yeah, it'd be hard to tell what your audio sounds like. It's a marginal down there right with the noise. But if you're curious, I mean, I could copy you somewhat, but you will be on our QSO-VLOG for today. If you go to YouTube and do a call letter search Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor, that will bring up the page. And what is your call sign?
Yes, sir. It's Kilo Golf 4 Yankee Alpha Foxtrot. I'm over here in Solomon, Maryland. I'm over here by Solomon Island, Maryland. Again, the call sign Kilo Golf 4 Yankee Alpha Foxtrot. Over.
Roger. Kilo Golf 4 Yankee Alpha Foxtrot. All right, that should be in the title, so you should be able to find it. Roger, Roger.
Roger that. That'd be great. I've never heard the station, so I'll be able to check it out. I'm telling another guy, so I got that. I was going to tell you also that if you can still hear me, that guy, he was in selection 3. I like that 3. It had a lot more bass to it, and I was trying to listen to Helmet. Anyways, I'm gonna let you go back, but I thought 3 was good too when he was on the other, when he was in the other mode. All right, have a good afternoon there. Kilo Golf 4 Yankee Alpha Foxtrot clear.
Roger, Roger. 3's that away, sir. Have a good afternoon, or good morning, or goodbye. 3's that away. Catch you later. Eric, where are you?
I'm here. Stand by for 1 minute here.
Roger, Roger. This is Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor on 7189 during our QSO-VLOG recording for the week. If somebody might want to hear what they sound like, shout now.
Okay, so I am now on the second selection, W4ADT. I'm on the second selection, and I think you wanted to hear a little bit more about how this one was sounding.
Roger, stand by, Eric. There was another station in there. Other station, come back and try it again. Station, one more time, please. You're pretty marginal.
Kilo 4
Juliet Hotel Romeo.
Roger. I think it has to do with the audio system. I think you might need a little more top end in your audio. You're kind of hard to understand. Roger, Roger.
Roger, is that any improvement?
Let me hear a little bit more.
Kilo 4, Juliet Hotel Romeo.
Roger, I copy you now. One more time with the call sign.
Kilo 4, Juliet Hotel Romeo.
That was Zulu Hotel Romeo. Kilo 4, Zulu Hotel Romeo.
Negative. Kilo 4, Juliet J-A-R. Juliet Hotel Romeo.
Zulu Hotel Foxtrot.
This is Zulu November. I think the last one's November.
Zulu Hotel November, is that correct?
Yes.
Zulu Hotel November, is that correct?
Juliet Hotel Romeo.
Zulu Hotel Romeo.
That's perfect.
Roger, Roger. Alrighty. I'm getting a lot of call signs. I may have to identify this thing a little differently, maybe like the frequency and time as opposed to all the call signs. Roger, Roger.
Roger, Roger. Frequency 10.185. Time is 10:54.
Yeah, you could use some more top end on that microphone there for intelligibility, articulation, and stuff like that. And this will be on YouTube. Search for Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor. And if you go there, you'll find the our QSO-VLOG page, and this will be on that page if you just look for the time and temperature. Look for the time and frequency. I think that's the way I'll do it. Roger. Try again.
That is the YouTube link.
Roger, Roger. YouTube for Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor.
No problem. That's not the degree 2.
Roger, Roger. Think about adding a little top end there on your microphone. It'll help articulation. Okay, Eric, go ahead.
Okay, the band has changed a little bit, it looks like, but I am now on the second position. Here. Testing 1 2 1 2 3 1 2.
I tell you what, man. Why don't you? I tell you what. The best thing to do is to take your book and look up how you can get to your equalizer direct, and we won't have to screw with this other stuff. We'll just conjure up an EQ curve as we speak. Roger.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I don't know on this FT1000MP Mark V. I don't know if it has that in here, but boy, if it does, you know, I'd be interested in seeing where it is. But I don't know if it has that, or if maybe in my case it just has like different audio groups that I can sort of set.
Yeah, Roger that. You probably, you know, maybe we do this at on 80 meters at about 11 or midnight or something, where we have solid signals. You know, that's the thing. This 40 meters anymore, man, is just up and down so much. It's just hard to say for sure. Roger.
Yeah, no, I know. Well, what I'll do is, you know, about 11 o'clock, I'm going to try and see if I can get on, you know, one of those various frequencies that you said you know, scan on or go through, you know, or stop by, whatever. 3892, like 3892 or 3860, 3863, something like that.
Yeah, or I'll tell you what about 3805, 3805, or better, 3803, Roger?
All right. tell you what, let's do that. 11 p.m. tonight, I will get on 3803, and let's see if we can, see if we can hook up for, just a little bit, and then, we can maybe mess around a little.
Or probably better yet, would be to wait till you get your phone windscreen, because I want you to get set up on tight miking, and that way you won't have to worry about any, you'll be able to use your compressor without sucking up the family in the mix, Roger?
Yeah, okay. Now, when you have the phone screen, what does that allow you to speak closer and not have to be all worried about it, or what?
Absolutely, man. I am eating this microphone. Have you seen the videos? Man, I'm right on top of it, right in it. And that way what happens is you have proximity effect, which is a bass buildup of the EQ curve. It sounds bassier when you work tight, so you have to roll off a little bit of the bottom, and we work all that stuff out, Roger.
Yeah, okay, all right, sounds good. Yeah, so I'll let you know when that thing comes, and then we'll do like an 80-meter evening and go from there.
Roger, yeah, and we will do that compressor thing and the EQ thing and the tight mic thing, and get all that worked out, Roger?
Sounds like a plan, buddy. Sounds like a plan. All right, buddy, well, I got to get out of here, but good talking to you, my friend, and enjoy the rest of your morning, and we will look forward to talking to you again, my man. W4AVT with clear.
Roger, Eric, and you know that these QSOs will not appear in that big list. They do, but they will be right at the back end, because what I'm doing is I am kind of pruning my my QSO-VLOG list, my 208 QSO-VLOGs list program. So the new stuff is not necessarily going to the top of the thing. It's usually going to the back, to the bottom of that list, but it will appear on the front page of the QSO-VLOG when you when you first get there, Roger.
All right, that sounds good, man. I'm looking forward to hearing it.
All right, and now what I'll do is, since we got a bunch of call signs in there, I will simply label it frequency and time, Roger.
Okay, sounds good.
All righty, man. Have a good day, and we'll say threes, Roger.
All right, buddy. Same to you, man. Take care. We'll talk to you later. W4AVT. We're going clear on out. Take care.
Kilo Charlie 9 Victor, Kilo Victor, threes. Come up on the mic. Let me hear you. Let me hear your audio right on top of that mic.
All right, I guess it'd be SWR. I've got a lot lower SWR now, but that works.
Well, SWR is not necessarily related at all to frequency response of the microphone. What you might want to do is put your meter on ALC. You have a meter position called ALC, Roger?
Does that make a difference?
Let's do this first. Go to the meter ALC reading. Get that multimeter on ALC and take a look and see where your audio is as you transmit, and your audio should be right towards the right edge of max. You should be almost max on the right side, but stay within the ALC max guidelines, but very close to max. Roger?
Roger. I'm a little bit over. I'm going red, and now I'm coming back to just right at the end of it right there. That's where I started from.
Roger. Well, that makes a big difference, man, because you picked up probably about 8 dB of signal. Roger.
Roger that. I appreciate it. I'll let you get on with your thing. Thanks for the check.
Roger. Now, do you know where your EQ settings are?
The which settings?
Your equalization settings for your transmitter?
I can find them, but I have not messed with them. I'm new handy.
All right, do you have your book there real quick?
I do have it, yes.
All right, find Transmit EQ. Transmit EQ. You'll either have a 2-band or a 3-band EQ. This is Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor in the morning QSO-VLOG recording for our YouTube page. Anybody curious about what their transmitter sounds like, give us a shout. This is KC9VKV.
Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor. This is Kilo Juliet 4 Papa Foxtrot. QDRZ.
Papa Foxtrot station, come back with your call sign again.
Kilo Juliet 4 Papa Foxtrot. WCDRZ.
And Roger, Papa Foxtrot got that. And there's another station out there. Go ahead with your call sign again. Was there another station calling? Nothing heard. Papa Foxtrot. This is Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor.
Yes, sir.
Papa Foxtrot, you have fallen into my noise level. You have fallen down into my noise level, Roger, Roger.
WCDRZ. Papa Foxtrot, I'll be clear. Thank you.
Roger, Roger. You know, if you're curious about, I could copy you sometimes, but you know, it's really marginal. But if you go to YouTube and do a call letter search for Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor, that'll open up our QSO-VLOG page, and we're going to entitle this one Frequency and Time. So if you see the frequency and the time that you were on, then that will be the one that you could hear yourself for as much as you know was possible. Roger?
Roger that. Thank you very much. KJ422F.
Roger, Roger. This is Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor.
K4JXR. I got my mic equalizer and turned it on. Did that help?
All right. Now, do you have a 3-band or a 2-band EQ?
I have not found that yet. I don't know.
You're still looking for EQ?
Yes, still looking.
Well, let me give you a shot there. When you find EQ, if it's a 3-band, you want to go at least a halfway push on the top end. Like if it's a 0 to 10 plus, you want to go to 5 on the top end, and on the bottom end, if it's a 0 to 10, you want to go to -5 on the bottom end. -5 on the bottom end, and if there's a 1K, I'll leave that one where it is. Roger?
Roger that. Thanks.
And that'll give you a place to start. That top end is the most important thing that you need, and the bottom end, you know, I'll get an opinion on that maybe, because I can't, you know, when you modify the top end, of course, you're looking for balance, and so you might not need to roll quite as much off the bottom. Roger? And just as a general rule, I usually suggest on your compression, if you have a 0 to 10 on your compressor, I would run it at about a 3. I would run it at about a 3, and then go back and check my ALC. And once you have that compressor on 3, it'll be a whole lot easier to set your ALC, because your meter won't be jumping around quite as much. And so setting your ALC once you have the compressor on is a lot easier. This is Kilo Charlie 9, Victor Kilo Victor. There's somebody back in there, but they're way, way back. Too far back, sir. I'm sorry. Maybe conditions will change around here in a short, and we'll get a better signal. But right now, it's pretty noisy. This is Kilo Charlie 9, Victor Kilo Victor, and this is our morning QSO-VLOG recording. We have a YouTube page, and we will post this stuff probably in the next couple of days. If you go to YouTube and do a call letter search for Kilo Charlie 9, Victor Kilo Victor, that'll bring up the page, and this QSO-VLOG recording will be labeled date, time, and frequency. Date, time, and frequency. So too many call signs to ID it through call signs.
Whiskey Delta, 3 Oscar. Victor Kilo Victor.
The Whiskey 7 station, come back with your call sign again.
W2DRZ, do you copy?
W2, stand by just a moment. W7, are you still there? Nothing heard on the W7. The W2, go ahead with your call sign again, please.
Yeah, it's Whiskey 2, Denmark, Radio Zulu, Dog, Roger, Zebra. Name Tom, over.
Roger, Roger, Tom. I got a copy on you, sir. Whereabouts are you located?
Near Jamestown, New York.
Jamestown, New York?
Near there.
Roger that, sir. You are, maybe 3 dB above my noise level. Roger, Roger.
Okay, I won't hold you back that way here. You're about 5 9 here. And we'll stand by and see what you got going.
Roger, Tom, you came up that time. So the first thing I usually suggest for folks to check their ALC. There's a lot of folks that don't really check that, but in single sideband, your audio level determines your RF level, and so you want to be close friends with your ALC meter reading, and be right on the right-hand side of that ALC reading, not over it, but next door to over, just right next door on the right side to max, but it's not exceeding the ALC. Roger, Roger. Tom, you still got a copy, sir?
Yes, I do. I didn't realize you were chatting with me. How does my audio sound, by the way?
Try that one more time, Tom.
Yeah, if I'm that way, it's kind of hard to tell. I'm wondering how my audio sounds on this rig, over.
Roger, sounds pretty good, sir. Might need a little more top end. That's my speciality. I think that you need as much articulation on your modulation as possible, so folks can understand you. So if you have a equalizer in your radio, you might punch it up a little bit on the top end there. Maybe if it's a 0 to 10, maybe take it up to about a 4 or 5. And all the time looking at your ALC, so you don't exceed your ALC reading. Roger.
Roger, I've already done all that, and I'm running a Mark V field unit here, so to give you an idea, Brad.
Roger, Roger. Are you running any compression at all?
Yeah, very small amount of compression.
Roger, yeah, about a 3 out of 10 would do it. About a 3 out of 10, Roger.
About where I got it right now.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Don't need much more than that. But just that, the problem is that the average peak modulation of a radio without processing is 30% average peak modulation. That's just human nature of the way we speak and all that stuff. And 30% is quite a low level if you consider, that being the average peak modulation. So when you increase your average peak modulation, say up to 60%, it's like your station sounds about twice as loud as what it did at 30%, Roger.
I understand. Well, very good. I'm running this into a 3 QSO-100 amp I just put together. Running about 300 watts out, and that's plugged into a half-bridge dipole. Over.
Roger that. And you have checked your ALC reading? And it is towards the right-hand side of max?
Yeah, it's up in the ALC, 2/3 or better, over.
Roger that, Tom, roger that. Well, we do not have really good conditions today. I would say the band is 20 to 30 dB off where, what would be considered a good band, Roger?
Yeah, I got to agree with you. It's nowhere near optimal. But thank you for the contact. You sound good here. And this is only the second day I've had this 3 CX800 running. As I say, it's about 300 watts, 300 to 400 watts out. What it is, I'm driving it with the Mark 5 field at about 25 to 30 watts of drive, over.
Roger, Tom. I'll give you an idea of what 100 watts sounds like. This is about 100 watts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Kilo Charlie 9 Victor, Kilo Victor at 100 watts. And now KC9VKV at a kilowatt. Roger, Roger?
Oh, yeah. I understand very well. I got rid of all my 8877, and so I played with 8.5 for 3 years, over.
Roger, just looking at your modulation, I'm looking at a VU meter that's tied to the audio of this receiver, and looking at that, you could probably come up to a 4 on your compressor and still be almost not noticed as far as running compression. Your signal is really loose, and you might, ideally I think that if a person winds up with about a 3 dB dynamic range, that is a lot more intelligible than without compression. So maybe if you come up to a 4, that would fatten you up even more. Roger?
Okay, I increased it a little bit. I don't like to run much more in this compression level because I find it starts to sound ugly. But about this level, it carries in pretty good, I think. KC9VKV, W2DLZ.
Roger, Tom. Well, you will. If you check out your audio on my QSO-VLOG page, you'll hear the difference that made. That was a substantial difference. Did you just went up to a 4?
Yes.
Roger, it made a big difference, sir. I would run it at that. I mean, it really sounded, extremely louder than the 3. I'm not. Maybe we had conditions that came along at that particular time, but running that 4, doesn't sound overly compressed or scary. Roger?
Well, I leave it right where it's at, and on the issue here, the volume and RF gain is right next to the mic and compressor. And once in a while, I reach up, turn the volume down, and it happens to be the night game. Okay, we'll leave it where it is, and W, it sounds good. WTDRZ, bye.
Roger, Roger, Tom. And like I say, we are recording our QSO-VLOG for the week. And if you go to YouTube and do a call letter search for Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor, you will find one of the entities with ID'd as with today's date, time, and frequency. We have so many call signs involved, I can't list them as with call signs. So just look at the date, time, and frequency, and that'll you find out when that'll be the one. And we'll probably post this in the next 2 or 3 days. Roger, Roger. Roger, Roger, Tom. Okay, so 3 sideways, sir. You have a real good day up in New York, and we'll catch you later.
Okay, thank you very much. I just turned on my HDSDR. Happened to have to look at the band. And you have that information on here. So, we're facing one of pleasure. And carry on. KC9VKV, WTDRZ Court.
Roger, Roger, 3 is Tom. Have a good afternoon, good morning, and then we'll catch you later. It's KC9VKV. This is Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor in the morning weekly QSO-VLOG recording. We're rolling tape now. Anybody want to hear what their station sounds like, give me a call. KC9VKV, stand by. Was that WYDI?
You're close. Whiskey Yankee 8 India.
Whiskey Yankee 8 India, Roger.
That's Roger.
Let me turn my volume down a little bit, sir. You got a real good signal. What's the name there?
Name is Jim. I'm amplified too. I'm in Michigan, a small town on the Michigan-Canadian border, about 50 miles northeast from Detroit.
Roger. Very good signal. You're running 500 or kilowatt?
I'm running about
60?
600.
Roger, Roger. And well, I was about close, halfway, one way or the other.
Yeah, you were. I've been listening to you, and you certainly know what you're talking about. Very interesting person. Go ahead.
Well, Roger, just trying to get everybody's radio performing as best as possible. Conditions on the radio, on ham radio, are really getting worse day by day. Smart meters are coming into play, and all kinds of chirps and noises. When I guess the public media, the public utilities companies, when they finish, radio will be kind of like being around a pond of water at about 2 o'clock in the morning with all the animals chirping and cracking and making noise. Roger?
Yeah, talking about chirping, I remember years back on CW, I got I know that sent me a message saying I was chirping and tried to get rid of it. And I was so embarrassed too.
This was on CW?
Yeah, CW.
Roger, Roger. I didn't know whether it was a new form of audio modulation or what, called chirping.
What radio I'm sorry, I missed your name also.
Roger, the name here is Jim, Juliet India Mike, and our setup is a homebrew condenser microphone into a ART preamp, into a 3rd octave equalizer, into a Yaesu 990, and then into a Heathkit SB220, and then up to a inverted V, Roger.
Okay, very good. You really have this set up wonderful.
nice and clear. Good low end, good high end. Just, I never missed a word you've been saying.
I missed the last part of that, Jim.
I say I've never missed a word you were saying. Talking to other hams.
Yeah, you faded down a little bit now, Jim. So let me say 3. So, but we are, as I mentioned, running our QSO-VLOG recorder. And we do have a QSO-VLOG page on YouTube where we post our QSOs. And this one will be titled Date, Time, and Frequency. And we'll probably post it in the next 2 or 3 days. So if you go to YouTube and do a call letter search, Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor, this should be on the page when it opens up, Roger.
Oh, very good. I'll have to tune in in a couple days and take a check myself. Listen, easy name, being that's mine too. It's William James, but I go by Jim. Anyways, Jim, take care. Enjoy the talk. And I'm going to sit and listen a little bit, and then so many things to do today. KC9VKV from WY89.
Roger, Jim. 3's that away, sir. You enjoy the day. Good to talk with you, sir. And we'll catch you later. This is Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor doing our QSO-VLOG recording for the week. If you have a station you want to hear what it sounds like, if you give me a shout. We are rolling tape as we speak.
Kilo 4 Kilo Japan.
Kilo Japan station, come back with a call again.
Kilo 4 Kilo Japan.
Roger, they had a sale on kilos, Roger.
Yes, they did. I should say Kilo 4 Krispy Kreme Junkie. That would be more in line of what it is. The name is Ken, and I am in western North Carolina. Good afternoon, or good morning, actually. It's not quite afternoon yet.
Well, that's Roger. Ken, you are one of the stronger stations today, sir. What's your setup there?
I'm on a Apache Labs 8000 DLE. Little software-defined mixer, and running into a German RF kit solid-state amplifier into a full-wave 160-meter loop.
Roger. And so how does the 160-meter loop tune up for 40?
Beautiful. I'm about, probably 1 to 9 here. And I'm, of course, using a HF auto tuner, and it brings it down to, straight 1-to-1 match. But it's not bad. I really wouldn't have to use a tuner if I didn't want to.
Roger. So that's an outboard tuner, Roger?
Yes, it is. It sure is. The Palstar Auto HF tuner, which they're pretty sweet.
Roger. What's its power rating? Just out of curiosity.
100.
I'm sorry. What's your power rating again?
Oh, okay. the power rating on the tuner, I thought you meant. I'm running about probably 500 watts right now.
Roger, sounds beautiful. And I was, in fact, asking about the tuner power rating.
Yes, it's rated at 1800.
Roger. It really sounds good. Now, could you share ballpark what your operating cost might be? So for the the computer aspects of it.
You talking about all the equipment combined?
Well, I mean, just what do you think it would cost for me if I wanted to sound like you?
Oh, well, let's see. Well, I would. You don't you know, the SDRs are hard to beat, especially I think the Apache Labs probably have a little better audio than the Flex. Now, Flexes are great. I have one. I have a 6500 also. The Apaches seem to have just a little better audio to them. They actually, in their software, they have a lot of audio controls that were put in. So if you're not familiar with the Power SDR Open HP SDR, then you're kind of missing a lot of audio tools that are in there in the DSP section. And it gives you a lot of flexibility. You can, I mean, you just need to check that out. Then the outboard stuff I'm running is basically a software-defined mixer, and I just kind of, you know, do the final touch-up there at the end. And the other part of it is I, you know, this is the business I'm in also. I you know, have a company, and we do pro audio and video systems commercially, so that helps having a little background.
Roger, and you actually prefer your Apache Lab versus the Flex?
Well, they're both great radios. Okay, I'm not knocking either one. The way I kind of describe it is that Flex is sort of like the Apple iOS, your iPhone. It is what it is. It works very well. There's, you know, if you're limited, you can't really go in and change parameters. You know, they just give you a working software solution. You pick out what you want, the band, and you go with it. Apache. And that software is more like Android. You can go in and you can change the look, the feel. You can change the parameters of your bandpass filter. I mean, you can tinker all you want to in it. You know, so that's the way I kind of like to describe them.
Roger, so you're running that Flex 6500. Well, that's what, about $5,000, $4,000?
Well, no, right now, since the new ones have come out, the 6400s and 66, you can find the 6500. In fact, I think on their website, if they have any, you can get a refurbished 6500 for, I think, maybe around $2,900 right now.
Roger that. Roger that. The thing I have found about the Flex receivers, just the way it handles, you know, the incoming RF is just beautiful as far as establishing a frequency width and the linearity of the audio within that width is just beautiful. You know, it's hard for say, you know, I've got a Yaesu 990 that when I first started doing my QSO-VLOGs, I was using the speaker out audio, and over a period of time, and you know, and listening to it versus some good friends that are recording QSOs on Flex, you know, I said, geez, mine, you know, had a mid-range audio hump and a 1 to 2 KC of about 6 or 7 dB, so I did jump off the speaker and go to the line out, which helped a great deal. And then I judiciously applied a notch filter to get that leveled out. So it does. This now starts to sound a little bit like a Flex as far as you know, the end product. Roger.
Yes, sir. I mean, it is nice audio you have, and the processing that you've got going on works pretty well. And I know there's some sticklers for details out there, but looks like you're probably about 3.5, 3.6 wide on your audio, which, you know, the processing would probably do, which sounds good for, you know, the people who like ESSB, you know, a little wider audio for, you know, quality. You know, they do. Now, you got to admit, it sounds great when you hear it.
Roger. Well, considering this is a 2.4 radio.
Yeah, it's pretty good. That's pretty well. So that's what can happen. You know, as far as you know, wanting to get here, I know you can find some used Apaches, the 100, 200 models for, you know, anywhere from 12 to probably 1,800, which I would encourage anybody to grab if you're thinking about an SDR. And I can't go without giving a shout out for a little station monitor in the wave node. That's what I use for just following power parameters, SWR, and that kind of stuff. It's also software driven. It's a hardware piece, but you can also bring it up on the screen for software, and that works very well too.
Roger. Now your signal is just beautiful. Probably about a 40 over, 30 over. So it really sounds good. If you would be interested in hearing yourself, we are doing our QSO-VLOG recordings, and if you go to YouTube and do a call letter search for Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor, KC9VKV, that'll open up our QSO-VLOG page, and on that page we'll have this recording, and we do it by date, time, and frequency. So we have too many call signs involved to try to get all the call signs on the title. Roger.
All right, Jim. Well, I appreciate it, sir, and enjoyed the little QSO. And anytime if I can help you with anything, if you'd like some info on audio stuff, love for you to contact me and get on QRZ. So have a good one. There's probably plenty of other people who would like to jump in on this. Thank you again. Have a great day, sir. 73 K4 KKJ.
Roger. And that was Ken.
Yes, sir, Ken.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Beautiful signal. Absolutely beautiful. You have a real good day, and we'll catch you later. This is Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor doing our morning weekly QSO-VLOG recording. If you want to hear what your station sounds like, give me a shout. KC9VKV. I heard when I backed off the key, I heard somebody back there. Try it again. I think it was Whiskey 9, sir. Come up on the mic a little bit and let me hear you.
Whiskey 9 Delta Bravo Charlie.
Whiskey 9 Delta Bravo Charlie. Roger, you are just a little bit above my noise level, so the more you stay on mic, the more I'll be able to hear you. Roger.
Roger, we're operating about 100 watts out of northwest suburbs of Chicago on a dipole.
Roger, Roger. You jumped up there, so keep that modulation right about there, and we won't have any problem. You are a good 10 dB above my noise level. Roger.
Enjoying the education. I'm relatively new to HF, so I appreciate all of the information that you're sharing.
Roger, Roger. Well, just remember, your best friend is your ALC reading. You know, that's the place where it all starts. So you want to be as close to max on the ALC reading as you can, but still stay within the ALC max guideline. Roger. Roger, Roger, on a lot to learn. But you know, it all comes to you in time. You know, you can't possibly process all of the information immediately, you know, unless you've got a photographic mind, and that's few and far between there. I think, well, anyway, yeah, ALC, and then what I would suggest as a general rule is that you do run compression, just to take your normal 30% peak modulation, average peak modulation up, try to get it up to maybe 60%. So if you run, you know, on the the compressor, if you have a 0 to 10 max, if you run about a 3 or 4, that will help you immensely as far as getting your average peak modulation up. And then also your setting your ALC level becomes a lot easier when you are running a 3 or 4 compression level, because your meter is not moving around so drastically, so you can really easily set your max ALC reading after you're running compression. So that would be my suggestion. Then the next thing would be EQ, and I automatically gravitate towards getting that top end up top end of the EQ up for articulation. That is the thing that gives you the ability to understand what somebody's saying. And if you don't have sufficient top end for articulation, then it really becomes much more difficult to understand. Roger.
Yeah, and I appreciate that. It's going to take some time to play around with all that stuff, but that's part of the hobby and the enjoyment. So appreciate your time. I'm going to sit back and listen to some other calls, and you have a great day. 7-3.
Roger, Roger. Threes to you, sir. Thanks for shouting. And we will be posting this QSO in the next 2 or 3 days. And if you go to YouTube and do a call letter search for Kilo Charlie 9, Victor Kilo Victor, that will bring up our QSO page. And on that page, we will have this QSO, and it will be identified as today's date, time, and frequency, because we have too many call signs to try to post it by call signs. Roger. This is Kilo Charlie 9, Victor Kilo Victor.
November 8, Zulu Lima, N8ZL.
ZL station, come back with a call again.
November 8, Zulu Lima, N8ZL. And we're located in West Virginia.
Roger, Roger. Larry in West Virginia. How's it going today, sir?
Well, doing pretty good. I've got an old cubic Astro 150A up on the bench. And trying to get it calibrated in. It's 1980s technology, phase lock loop. I've been trying to get the 2 reference oscillators dialed in properly and getting them to stay. I think I've got it whipped, but still kind of playing with it. Still got the lids and stuff off of it just in case. But anyhow, you got a wonderful signal into West Virginia.
Thank you so much, Larry. I was just thinking about when you were talking about the is it a VFO that you're working on?
Oh no, it's phase lock looped and doesn't have a typical VFO like like a dial. It's electronically tuned, which is the tuning mechanism is so you're actually changing the voltage to the PLL, and it's kind of an odd rig, cubic box sworn out, and they made these radios for like government work, embassies, and stuff like that. You just dial up the frequency. Really nice receive. The audio is really warm on receive, so I'm not too sure what the transmit sounds like, but anyhow, it's been a fun little radio to tinker with.
Roger, Roger. Reminds me of I've got my original radio was a Drake TR4C, and a great radio. But as a technician, I was marooned on 10 meters for a couple of years, and 10 meters on a that radio. I'm trying to remember now. Take a look. That's a 42-year-old radio, and 10 meters was a stretch for that radio as far as VFO, and so it did take at least 45 minutes for that radio to warm up. And I probably wasn't helping it because I did have a blower. I ran a blower on that TR4C all the time that I had it on, just to keep things tranquil. It was on the owner's manual did list 300 watts max out. I'm sure that's PEP, but by today's standards, that still was a chomping radio there. They had three output tubes, 3 RF output tubes tied together, and did generate quite a bit of heat, so I did keep a blower on it. And come to think about it, that blower might have caused the warm-up time to be elongated, because it did, the whole stability of that radio was when the tube got hot, then it got more stable. And if it were getting a breeze whispering through the trees, it would probably take it longer to stabilize. Anyway, so much for the TR4C, Roger, Roger.
Okay, very good. Well, I still have a TR4C. I've got the outboard VFO, and man, that helps a bunch. Warm-up time is cut down dramatically, as you mentioned, with the things heating up. But the outboard VFO works very, very well. Well, listen, I'll cut you loose. I wanted to say good morning. I just got the lunch call, so better head up to the house, and I'll leave this thing sit on the bench for a little bit more. I think I'm just about ready to finish up. I think I've done all the damage to it that I can. So we'll say 7-3, thanks a lot for the contact, and we'll catch you later on.
Roger, Roger. 3Z away, sir. You have a real good day. And we will be posting this QSO in the next couple of days, so if you're interested, the band is up and down quite a bit, but what there is, from time to time, boy, is just perfect. So, you can hear your audio very clearly at times, more so than others, But anyway, we will be posting in the next 2 or 3 days. So if you go to YouTube and do a call letter search of Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor, that will take you to the QSO-VLOG page, and then we will title this by date, time, and frequency. So 3Z away. Have yourself a good afternoon. And this is KC9VKV. And I think we'll go one more time. Anybody out there want to hear the audio? We are doing QSO-VLOG recording for the moment. Give me a shout. And nothing heard, so we're going to wrap it up. This is Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor, and we have been doing our QSO-VLOG recording for the week. And we will be posting it on YouTube. If you do a call letter search, Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor, that will take you to our QSO-VLOG page, and this QSO will be identified as a date, time, and frequency. So there you go. You guys have a good day, and we'll catch you later. This is KC9VKV. Be clear.
It's November 9, Fox, Uniform Echo.
Fox Echo, go ahead.
Yeah, November 9, Fox Trot, Uniform Echo. I'm over here in the west side of Illinois. You sound like you're sitting right next to me.
Roger, Roger. Well, we're just about ready to wrap up, sir, but what kind of power are you running there?
You're running 40 over here of mine. But I just wanted to shout and tell you how you had a good signal over here, and it's hard to get Indiana sometimes.
Roger, Roger. Well, gosh, what radio are you running there?
I got a Yaesu FTDX 1200.
Roger, and the power amp?
100 watts. I'm running barefoot, but I got a ground-mounted vertical in this good Mississippi River Valley soil with about 50 radios in it.
Roger, Roger. Well, I usually don't entertain verticals in my life, but yours is working just beautiful, sir.
Yeah, I can't do the towers much anymore, so I spend a lot of time putting effort in this vertical out here. I had some more experience in the service doing that, so it seems to work pretty good. I wonder if I'm going to put an amplifier on one of these days. That might be too much, though, sometimes.
Roger, Roger. What do you figure your stick's worth power-wise? How much?
Maybe about 600 to it. I like to run through just to do some DXs sometimes when they can't hear me.
Roger, Roger. The next thing you'll be doing is a phased array.
Yeah, I'm checking on that too. I also thought about maybe putting a hex beam up, a little more directional, because sometimes, only bad thing about the vertical is sometimes, if you want to really try to hone somebody in to receive them, you can't do it.
Roger, Roger. Bob Heil's got an interesting phased array piece of business there on a, one of his videos that I saw. And he did a demonstration of the capability of that phased array, and that was at least 6 or maybe 8 dB difference,
Yeah, told him that. I've been a long time since I talked to him. Him and my dad was good buddies. He's just started out for about 20 miles south where I'm located. So, but I've been looking at that stuff, and probably be a project I'll be going here in the fall when the heat goes away. This weather, I'll tell you what, we got 3 seasons now: winter, summer, and we have a little bit of fall.
Yeah, Roger. Well, that's good enough, you know. I mean, I would take 2 seasons myself, you know. I'd just soon skip the middleman.
Yeah, I know how it is. So anyway, but yeah, I used to live up in Bristol, Indiana. After I got out of service, I lived up there for a few years, but that was a little bit too cloudy and snowy for me.
Yeah, Roger. I'm by Louisville, Kentucky. I'm on the Indiana side of the Ohio River, right at Louisville, Roger.
Oh, Roger, yeah, you're down there in good stuff. I used to do some work over at Tell City, Indiana, and a guy that was over there, not too far from here, I can't remember his town, but yeah, that's pretty nice down there. There's a big difference between southern Indiana and northern Indiana. It's like Illinois.
Yeah, Roger. Now, if we could just get them to take all the tariffs off the bridges, man, they are charging coming and going on 65 north and south are toll bridges now, and we have an east end bridge, which is also a toll, and we only have probably about one major bridge that's still not tolled, and one smaller bridge that's not tolled. So things get expensive going back and forth, Roger.
Yeah, that can really be a hassle. I'll tell you what, I remember what it was like here years ago when there was a lot of toll bridges and it was a hassle, but I don't think there's any more left around this area. First, you know, really generate money, so we shouldn't talk about it too much.
Oh, yeah, it'll jinx it. So somebody's been talking too much about this one because these tolls are in, and I got a sneaky suspect that these tolls will be for the rest of our lives, because they start talking about, oh, we need the money for maintenance. And once you introduce that equation, you know, it's Katie bar the door forever taking the tariffs off the bridge, Roger.
Yeah, I know. That's something. We got to keep the stuff up there. I know the Illinois got the gas tax pretty high, but I tell you what, some of the roads like Interstate 70 and 64, they keep these things in pretty good shape. I heard some of them up north by Chicago are torn up, but oh well, that's their problem.
Roger. Well, I can foresee some of these little towns down the road, you know, coming up on the interstate and digging up about a 4-foot section and repaving it and calling it improvements, and then start charging $5 per car passing, you know, pay for the improvement, Roger.
Well, that sounds just like a politician behind that stuff, but yeah, I tell you, that's just crazy. But over in Missouri, they don't have much money for their maintenance, and their roads are falling apart. They're going to have to do something. So you have to do something. I'd rather have something like spread it out over time, higher gas tax and nickel or so, than having to pay some stupid toll and stopping.
Oh, Roger that. Well, it's something we're going to have to deal with, I guess. Either that or I might start a ferry service between a little ferry service, you know, maybe 20 cars at a time. I wonder how much I could make there. Oh, well. We appreciate the shout there. We're going to jump out, but your signal's very good from time to time. Of course, this band is not the best, but we are doing our QSO-VLOG recording, so if you would like to hear what you sound like, we'll be posting this QSO in the next couple of days or so. And if you go to YouTube and do a call letter search for Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor, that'll take you to our QSO-VLOG page. And this QSO, I guess it's, now about an hour or so long, and it'll be ID'd by date, time, and frequency. Roger?
Yeah, Roger, that sounds good. I'm just running the stock microphone here, so I ain't got nothing fancy, but I got a digit adjusted pretty good and running about, like we were talking about previously, about 3.5 on compression, and everything else came in pretty good. So with what I got here, I don't think I can get much more out of it.
Yeah, and what's your power out?
100 watts.
Amazing, sir. Amazing. That antenna is doing you a great job. So we'll say 3s for now, and you have a real good afternoon, Roger.
Roger. Talk to you later. 73.
3s, KC9VKV. And this is KC9VKV, and if we'll be cutting out of here. It's been a long morning, so 3s to everybody, and this KC9VKV, be clear.